For P3-20, looking at the top view, there's no great advantage there from the side view. We have the angle and some of the geometry, but really the front view is going to be our best bet. So let's go with that, and then on the right side we'll put in the angle. And the other thing of note that if we do the math, the 30 and the 25 is 55. And if we add or subtract that from the 90, we should get 35. So the 20 is not exactly centered. That should leave 15 on this side. So just keep that in mind that we're not exactly symmetrical to that build. So let's go ahead and pull this out of the way. This is another metric part, so new, part metric. We are going into the front plane, so open up the sketch. Doesn't really matter. The one that we haven't really used, that I don't use a lot, but I'll go ahead and illustrate it, is the midpoint line. So if we pick up the origin and draw our midpoint line, it's the same as drawing a line and then assigning it to the midpoint, but we're centering on this part. The value there is 90. That'll put us into the scale. And then let's go into the line. And we'll go up some distance, over, down, back, up, over, and I don't remember which way. I just know that I do not want it to be perpendicular. So I'm going to drag that off just a little ways. I can look for that inference line and then complete the shape. So now when we go in putting our geometry, we'll have 35 to the intersection and then a 60 overall. And to the peak, we go 20. All right, and then we're at 25 and 30. All right, and our depth, oh yeah, that's on the step. So I don't need that 10. I don't need that one. We're 25 on the height, and just by process of elimination, we're going through to set all of these dimensions. So what am I missing to get this to go fully defined? So we need a height or a depth there, so that goes to 12. And then, let's see, I'm able to go to the step. And that's sort of looking like a missing dimension. It will let me go horizontal to that, which might be the part that makes it look kind of skewed. So let's go with that, and we'll make those horizontal. That would be one that I want to kind of log in my memory banks, that if there's an issue in the assembly, we'd come back and address it. The other choice then is the hole is 14 millimeters. If we want to be able to control that a little bit easier, we'll do it as a separate geometry. But I could put in, we don't do points very much, but this might be a place where we could add a point and put in the height of 20. And it looks like it's on the same 20 as the top. And I will make that a separate dimension just in case I find out it's not. All right, so I have that for reference. Don't know if I want to use it, but I do want to use the hole wizard, because if I change it, then I can come back to that one point. Oh, and I exited before I extruded, so we're just going to, everything's highlighted, and we'll extrude. 55, I prefer it to go the other way, so I'm going to flip the direction, and then that gives us a good portion of our geometry. So on the end, we'll open up a sketch. Now I haven't used the blind for an open contour very much. And because we're given the 10 millimeters off the back, I think we're going to be better off going ahead and closing this triangle, um, closing that off. So we can go 15, and I'll just pick the vertical. And from the base, that looks like 5. And then we're going to do a feature, cut. And then rather than do math, I'm going to offset from a surface. Anytime we pick, we see the other selection boxes, we're going to pick that face, and I'm going to tell it the 10 millimeters. It shows me the preview. If I reverse the offset, it'll go further. Translating the software, if there was curvature or the angle, it would follow that curvature. And the flip side to cut, I don't see the little arrow, so it's giving me the preview, but the flip side to cut would leave the little triangle and remove everything else. So we don't want to do any of that, and we'll go ahead and accept. On the either that face, or the right plane, I'm leaning towards the right plane. If for no other reason than it illustrates that you can sketch in a variety of spots and still end up with good geometry. Right, so I'm going to draw the rectangle. This is another one of those right click and select the midpoint, and then hold down the control button, select the top line, and then we're going to go to midpoint. So that centers it, and then we have a distance of 15 on both sides. But because I put in the midpoint, I should only have to put one of those in for it to generate the geometry. Now, that one is either another 15 or an 18. Let's see what 18 looks like. Pretty much however you read that, we'll go with it. So that gives me the geometry. I'm going to extrude cut. It's still on the offset from surface, so we're just going to tell it through all. Find the next piece of geometry. Through all both, if you happen to select it, is going to activate direction 2, but there's nothing to cut out here. So usually, or occasionally, it will bark at you that there is nothing to terminate the feature. So we go ahead and accept that. And then let's go into our first sketch. I'm going to show that sketch so I have access. And the whole wizard helps if you pre-select the face you want to apply the whole wizard to. We can tell it that it is straight. The standard ANSI metric, we're in the drill sizes, and the last one I picked was 20 millimeters. So we're going to scroll down until we find the 14. Up to next should be okay. I don't usually put in near side, far side countersinks for just a standard edge break. And then the position can go right there. All right, so that point, as long as I'm in the point, we're going to keep adding holes until we run out of material or we get everything in there. So what that's going to do, and is very quickly put the dimensions in that one sketch. Now with the ISO standard, if there is no depth call out of say 20 millimeters or some other, then the assumption is that it's through. Okay, so that gives me the geometry, and we can go back and hide the first sketch. All right, so hiding and showing that that sketch we can show. I can also right click on it and hide it from the work area. So you do want to be a little careful with the hide show. It is it will hide the geometry, and if you do a shift tab and you're hovering over it, it will come back. If you tab on the keyboard, then that will cause it to disappear again or to hide again. All right, so that gives us our, let's go ahead and save this, our P3-14. Or 20. Had 14 on the brain. All right, so let's go ahead and save for 20.